because those are important
Yes.
points that need to be talked about every time we meet up. So this time we have a little bit more time, so I'm going to go a little bit slower than last time to try and fight it in. But then we're going to have some time at the end. We'll kind of go over some stuff that I'm seeing at my ITC and across the state. I'm on different committees and different groups, and I'm working with different schools, not just in Spark World, but obviously I'm down here, so all over the place in the state, okay? So if you look there on the screen, I have a whole bunch of credentials. Most of them don't mean a whole lot to you, but 2 key takeaways you should see on there. I am a certified ethical hacker. I used to start these presentations out, whether it be at OSU or a setting like this, and just hack somebody and get it out of the way, right? I just meet someone before I got started, throw it up on the screen and go, look, all right, now that we've established this and you believe me, we can move on. I don't do that anymore because just so happens every once in a while, if you hit somebody with really bad credit and some bad information, they get really angry. So if that's something you really want to see, we can do it, but you're putting yourself on blast. But I do have that skill set. I am certified with the government that I have that skill set. They're aware that I have that skill set. So I'm on a list somewhere for sure. Okay. The other one on there is that certified security awareness practitioner. That's relatively new. And what that means is I've gone through quite a bit of training to be able to, one, come and speak with people and make sure I articulate to you, but also develop programs for schools to go, here's the stuff you should be telling your staff and where you should be putting signs and how you should be communicating with them to make sure they understand. Most of you, I'm sure, have tech directors. The problem with a lot of tech people is they're way up here talking to you and they need to be way down here talking to you, right? So I'm pretty good at doing that and making sure I'm coming down to your level and explaining to people what we're doing. The other big one on here that I don't usually hit on is this InfraGard down here. That is a group that works at the FBI. I'm an InfraGard member, which means I do work with the FBI in some cases and get information with them as we go along, okay? So the other ones, there's a bunch of really high-end ones on there that if you were a nerd like myself, you would care about. These top 3 are very prestigious. If you're a technology person, they're very difficult to get. And I have those, but everyone in this room doesn't care about that, I promise you, because it's all technical stuff, okay? 2 big ones is I'm a hacker, I can hack you. 2, I know how to articulate this stuff. And if you need a program or a plan for your district, email me. I'm happy to share that. We don't charge for this stuff. I'm not charging to be here today. I'm just here to help out and spread the word, okay? That's my goal. So my clicker works half the time. All right, maybe. I got hacked with Zoom. Who remembers this? We did this last time. You know, every time you see me, I'm going to do this. So let's see who we can call out this year, who didn't listen to me last year, right? So raise your hand if your password still has an important date in any format in it, personal or work. I don't care either one. All right. Some people are like half raising their hands like, I've been busted. All right. Has an important name in it. Your pet's name, your spouse's name, your children's name. Some people are like, I'm not putting my hand up anymore. Relatable term, sports, scrapbooking, sports team, Buckeyes, whatever. Less than 12 characters. Now I can see who the liars are in this room again. Can access multiple things, meaning my email password is the same as Instagram, the same as my bank, the same as everything else. Yep. Okay. I'm going to hit everyone up here again today and remind you that all these should be different. None of these should hit. But the key one here is this can access multiple things. As someone that hacks, I don't even need to be a hacker. If I can get into your email, I can just reset everything else, right? So if you're in a data breach, AT&T had a massive data breach last year. Dell had a massive data breach last year. If your AT&T account was the same as your Gmail account, and I go to get into your Gmail account, I can then just reset your password on everything. You see why that matters? So your email account should be treated like a whole different beast. You want to make sure that's separate. If you just turn off from here on out and don't listen to me the rest of the way, go change your email password right now and make it unique to your email. Okay, that is super important. I can't emphasize that enough. Everything should be unique. That's the goal. I understand everyone's like, that's impossible. And we'll talk about that a little bit, but your email password that you use to access stuff should be different than everything else. That is very, very important. Okay. Who remembers this? We're back to the green beans. See who remembers. So which of these is a good password? Just shout out the number. All right, everyone's learned. I heard 1, 4. Who said 4? It was like a whisper of a 4. 4 is a good password. 4 is the typical password you want to see in a school. But what I've figured out as I go through and I see people that issue passwords is 4 is going to be like on a monitor or underneath a keyboard or in a drawer, right? Like it's written down somewhere. The book on the shelf, yeah, that crap, or on a spreadsheet on a phone. Like I've seen it all. 5 is the best password. I'm glad that everyone's starting to see like, hey, I can use a sentence now. I can put spaces in there. I can make it a phrase, right? So we're trying to get the new goal for passwords. Used to be 8 to 12 characters. Now they want 18 to 22 characters, which seems like so much. But if you type a sentence out, a passphrase, excuse me, it's not that much. Not a big deal anymore. It used to be, no more, right? But we are getting into a thing now where we're doing pass keys, and we talked about that last time. Last time I was like, 2 to 3 years, we're not having passwords no more. And I remember being at a school district up north on the lake, and they're like, you're crazy. And guess what? They don't have passwords anymore. So, but 5 here. So let's talk about breaking my clicker. When you use a passphrase, what you can do is you can make it very long, 15 characters. You can make it unique. So Amazon's robbing me blind, right? Chase Blank is robbing me blind. I don't care. Citibank is robbing me blind. I don't care what you use. You can do social cues when you get to a site to go, I need to change this of my passphrase. Now, ideally, you don't have a pattern, right? That's bad, but I realize that's impossible to have something unique for everything. There's so many passwords out there, or so many different accounts out there. But just having that delineation means if that site does get breached, okay, well, it's just good for that. The chance of them realizing your pattern is very slim. Okay, so that's why you go with the passphrase, and you can kind of make it unique with your social cues of where you're going to. Don't do that for your email. It doesn't mean like Gmail's my happy place, Facebook's my happy place. Don't do that. Email's different. Remember, email is if there was a password in your life that was like your bank account, that's your email, right? Email is, because if I get in there, I probably have all your account credentials anyways. That's very important. All right, so before we move on, like I said, these are the slides. Every time you see me, you're going to see something like that, okay? As we get moving along here today, we're going to talk about AI. We're going to talk about some phishing like we did last time. We're going to look at some videos. We'll have some discussions. And as I move along, if you have a question, just raise your hand or shout out. I don't care. That doesn't bother me at all. We have plenty of time here. I always leave plenty of time as we move along. So I want to hear that feedback and answer questions. At the end, we'll go over some stuff that I'm seeing in fiscal world, in the school world, and personal world. And I don't care if your question is work related or personal related. One thing about whenever I do my trainings is if I can make this relate to your personal life, you're more likely to do it at work. That's just how it is. I don't care if you're a teacher. I don't care if you're the fiscal staff. If you're going to do it in your personal life, you're going to be like, yeah, I'm cool with doing it at work. Okay. So stuff we're going to talk about today is types of threats, artificial intelligence, still no Chick-fil-A for the phishing, social engineering, third-party exposure. That's your AT&T. I've already kind of hit on it. And the end. So these slides right here that I'm about to click through, you're going to love this. So the top 4 right now, and this has changed drastically, that are hitting us in K-12 and in our personal life, was like third-party exposure, actual hackers doing stuff, and phishing. It's actually social engineering now. So in the last 18 to 24 months, we went from, I'm really banking on phishing, which is a type of social engineering, but it's a little different, to I'm going to use tools like AI, and I'm going to call you on the phone. I'm going to get bank account information and say, hey, I got a new bank account. I'm going to do that kind of stuff, right? Why have we done that? Well, AI has kind of skyrocketed that, given us scripts and voices to use and videos to use and all these tools that we never had. It doesn't take a hacker with a skill set anymore. It just takes someone being bored and able to use Google. So that's changed. And we've seen it. I don't know, there's been a lot of schools I've talked to, hopefully none in here, where your high school students get into this stuff and they're like, look at all this stuff I can do. And you get a couple bored high school students that are a little bit more tech savvy and they're into a bad spot real quick. So this is the list. These are the top 16, right? But in case that's not enough for you, here's some more, and there's some more. So we have lots of stuff to look at. The biggest thing that we care about that we can control right now when we do awareness is the social engineering aspect, the phishing aspect, stuff like that. A lot of stuff on this list, thankfully for you in the room, is going to fall to your tech department. That's stuff they have to deal with. This is stuff they have to deal with here, right? The biggest thing about awareness is what can you change, not what you can influence. Fun chart here. So we used to see when your school's power would go out, the internet would go out, that was what we'd call an outage event or an impact, right? Now the highest thing we see for outages impact is actually a cybersecurity event. So think about that. Up until about 3 or 4 years ago, right? This was COVID time. This started changing. The biggest thing that your school would go out was because the internet went out, right? Like, oh no, the internet's out. Internet's gotten so reliable at the commercial level. Some of you will be like, I got Spectrum or Maslin cable, it's terrible. But at the commercial level, internet has gotten so reliable, we just don't see that anymore. Unless somebody hits a pole outside the school with a car or something, how often is your internet really going out? Hopefully not very often, right? But you're more likely to have an issue with stuff going down with a cybersecurity event than you are for the internet or power to go out. Everyone's got generators. So we're at that point now. If you're a data person, what we're looking at here is this red area here. That's malware. That's pretty common. You download something on your computer, it puts something on there, spreads throughout the network. That's bad, right? If you have good security controls, you're not going to see that. But what we're concerned with right here is this orange area, the unknown, right? And then this yellow area, a little bit's a vulnerability. And what you're seeing there in that vulnerability is that's patch management. That's get with your tech department to go, hey, are you doing updates like you're supposed to? Are you staying on top of this stuff? You know, when you come in and it's like bugging you for months that you need to reset your computer because you have an update, that's vulnerability management. That's why your tech department should be like, yeah, we're rebooting your stuff today. Get over it. So quit putting that off. Everyone, some people in this room are like, oh no, he knows. He knows it was me. Yes, I've seen it. So the unknown. So Abraham Lincoln said, I am who I said I am. If I wasn't, then why would I say I am? Who said that? Anybody really know who said that? That was Eminem, but AI would make you believe that that's Abraham Lincoln. So just click with some people like, I get it now. All right. So we're going to show you this video. When we ended last time, I showed you this video and when we ended. So now we're going to start with it here.
I am not Morgan Freeman, and what you see is not real. Well, at least in contemporary terms, it is not. What if I were to tell you that I am not even a human being? Would you believe me? What is your perception of reality? Is it the ability to capture, process, and make sense of the information our senses receive? If you can see, hear, taste, or smell something, does that make it real? Or is it simply the ability to feel? I would like to welcome you to the era of synthetic reality. Now, what do you see?
So when we met last time, and even to this date, this video now is about 4 years old. This actually took some doing. Who knows what Sora is right now? ChatGPT Sora. Have you seen the Sora videos? Who's been on Facebook lately and seen monkeys driving cars and elephants on unicycles that look real as all get out? Who's seen that lately? Right? That's Sora. That's me typing into Sora. Hey, I want to see this. This actually took, he's sitting there and what you see is you see him underneath wearing a suit that matches there and his face with an overlay. If you watch the video very closely and you weren't expecting to be identifying this, you'd notice the eyes are kind of off, right? But other than that, if you didn't see it, you'd probably be like, yeah, it's Morgan Freeman. What's up? That's one of the most iconic actors and voice actors that we've seen probably in my lifetime, right? But that was a different period of AI. That's how fast it's changed. That went from having tools and taking hours to truncate and visualize this to I can do a text chat in Sora and have an output in 5 minutes, right? The reason this is important, so in 2021, there was a Chinese company that had a Zoom meeting from the CFO to the CEO. And it started with an email that said, hey, we need to talk about this project. It's secret. Can you join me on the Zoom meeting? CFO and CEO get on a Zoom meeting. CEO says to the CFO, hey, we need to wire 25 million US, and it was however many yen that converted to this company for a project we're working on. We need to keep it on the down low. They're having a meeting. They're talking back and forth. CFO sends the money off. That was social engineering with AI. It was a deep fake AI like this. They had a meeting and they just fired off $25 million, right? That's a true, you can go look it up if you want more details on it. That happened. So we've kind of gotten to the point of how do you combat this? And it's actually funny. We're going back from modern day standards all the way back to the 50s. And we're saying, if you're a treasurer, if you're a superintendent, you should have a matrix card. So you get a card. If I call you as a treasurer and I go, hey, I need to do this. I know I'm on vacation. I'm wherever, right? I'm at a conference. I'm at Capitol, SBA, name your conference. Okay, you go, all right, well, that's fine. Can you tell me what's in A4? The matrix sheets, A4 is whatever word it is. If they have the matrix sheet, they're good to go. They print it out, both of you have the matrix sheets, that's it. Because right now, if I get in a meeting with you and it seems unreasonable and it looks and sounds like you, has the same mannerisms as you, it's you, right? That's what our mind says. And so how do you combat that? So I want to look at this. Who knows Jason Satzel? Anybody familiar with that? He's the treasurer at Canton Local and RG Drake. So they were doing.
The Canton Local Board of Education met in regular session on June 17th, 2024 in the community room of Canton South High School. The meeting was called to order by President Tom Kavesky at 6 p.m. The following members were present for the meeting: Brandy Knoll, Scott Hamilton, Rick Knight, Tom Kavesky, and Annette Davis.
Right, that seems pretty normal. Who's doing online board meetings right now? Anybody in this room? Okay, so we have some online board meetings. That's pretty normal. Well, so I downloaded their online board meeting with his permission. He's well aware I've been sharing him all across the state. And all I did is I did text to chat.
So this is a test of your awareness. Clearly I sound like Jason, but am I really?
That's the same person? Sounds like it, right? If I go one step further and I add some filters to it, this one takes a second to load.
Hey, Mert, we're having a bit of an emergency over here with payroll. If you could send us your routing number and account number as soon as possible, that would be a great help. Thank you.
Murph is the director at the Career Center up there at RG Drake. So if you got that as a voicemail or an email voicemail, you'd be like, yeah, okay, this is him. Sounds like him. Same. If you were to speak to him, it sounds exactly like him. It's verbatim. That's all AI. That was me taking that original clip that they had online, putting it in AI, taking audio samples, downloading the audio samples and going, hey, say this. Hey, say this. Hey, say this. Actually, this year for the Stark County ESC convocation, we took the superintendent, Joe Chaddock. I got him to talk for a minute and a half and we recorded it. And we did his entire presentation with an AI video and AI voice, and nobody in the staff realized it was fake. Until we did tell them after the fact, but nobody realized that was a deep fake. Sounded like him, looked like him, no idea. So that's why we're trying to get more awareness on this and what AI is doing. Everyone right now is like, this is terrible. So this is the bad side of AI. This is what we're trying to get awareness on, and how do you combat it, and how do you put controls in to be aware of this stuff. Right now, still, there are tools that will identify this. However, none of them work in real time, right? It takes time to analyze. So in real time, if you have a situation come up, if you're getting a call from your superintendent or board president or something, you're like, all right, well, we're going to take care of this. That's our sense of urgency is what you want to take care of, right? It's part of our job, excuse me. So let's play a game. And no, as we play this game, I'm giving you a heads up that something is fake. So as you look at these images, realize, would you even be questioning them if I didn't give you a heads up that some of them are fake? So is this a real or fake image? So we're going back to, if you think it's real, you put your arm up. If you think it's fake, just leave your arm down. Who thinks that's real? A couple hands up for real. That one's fake. How about this one? One's saying this is fake. Couple reals out there. Remember, arms up for real. Arms down for fake. That is actually inside of Apple in California. That's a real picture. Those are real people walking around. How about this one? Real or fake? Those people saying, okay, well, here's some reals. Taking a look at it. That one's fake. How about this one? Some party goers. Couple reels, different reels now looking at it. That one is real. How about this one? I like that. Caught that. Couple reels. So this picture, this is something AI doesn't understand how to do yet. We don't know why. Look at her hand. Or look at her extra finger going the wrong direction on this hand, right? For some reason, AI doesn't understand how human hands work or wrists. So if you pay real close attention to those things on an image, you'll notice a lot of times now when someone AI generates an image, they'll try and put gloves on or move hands around or something. That's because for some reason, AI doesn't understand the human hand. I don't know. Somebody probably has an answer to that, but I do not. But at a glance, now I want you to think about this though. If you were to pull this up on your Instagram or Facebook, looking at it on a phone, are you going to catch those details? And you're not aware that it's a fake image. right? It's that convincing at a glance. You're like, yeah, this is legit. They're eating some whatever that stuff is. This is an important topic if you have children. I have a 16-year-old and a 12-year-old, and I'm trying to get to them right now, especially in this day and age. Everything you see online, probably 40% is probably fake, right? So all this good stuff that you're seeing online with people, it's probably not real. So just a tidbit side note there. It has nothing to do with presentation, but make sure if you're working with children, they know like a lot of the stuff you're seeing is fake right now. And it's so easy to do. That's fake. How about this one? Real or fake? Some reals? So wildly, this is one of the best AI fakes that have been there. The reason you don't see too much of an issue with the hand on this one is because he's got it to the side, but look at the extra thumb right there. But this is right now can be considered one of the best AI fake images that for realism that you could get. Other than that, you're not really missing much here. There's no other kind of giveaways or tidbits. Even if you look down all the way to the carabiners holding the tent down, they look legit. Everything in there looks legit, but that is a fake image. How about this one? Like everyone right now is looking at hands. We're all saying this one's fake then? No hands up? That one is real. That one is real. All right. Scooting along a little bit. How about the avocado toast? We're all going with fake on this one? Real? Some reals out there? That one's fake. That just goes to show, and here's another area that we're seeing into now, where you have these food content creators that are going out and these food critics that are going out. I can do with AI. I can show you some really sweet food. And what we're seeing now a lot of, which is kind of hilarious, I'm not going to throw the organization or the company under the bus, but there's a company in Belden Village right now that just got caught for using all AI images for their entire menu, which I thought was wonderful. But you walk in and it's just plastered, and they're like, yeah, we didn't pay anybody for this. We just AI'd this up. It was sweet. But burger looks good. Just didn't look like the burger. How about that one? Real, lots of reals on it. That one is real. Not that mean. I want to show you a fake and a real one, but how about this? That one's real. That's Zion Valley. So we just went through that knowing we were going through that to identify them. Now I want you to think about that back. If you weren't looking for fake and real, how many of those were real in your mind? Probably almost all of them, if not all of them. And actually the one that hangs people up is the Apple one. Everyone thinks that Apple one is completely fake because it looks obnoxious. 100% real. So that's where we're at with AI to distinguish what's going on. As fiscal people looking at this, if this does this with images, what do you think it does with forged documents? Direct deposit slips, purchase orders, invoices. If it does a picture this good, going back here, what do you think it can do with a forged document? You would have no clue because it does it amazing. In any font I want, matching anything you've ever done as making it look like it came through a copier or fax. You would have no clue. That's why it's important right now more than ever to verify and validate those second checks. And we'll talk about that a little bit more. But just remember when you're thinking about it, if it's doing real life imaging this well, what can it do to a document? That's super important. Or even more importantly, we've seen this, what can it do to a new employee with a new employee image or ID that looks like a new employee that's not really a new employee? We've seen that too. So, and going back to this, passports and the newest state IDs, I don't know if it was 25 or 26, have a glare on them. So you actually can't put them in a copier. So I don't know if you've tried to copy like a new document. If I take a passport and put it in a copier right now and try and do a scan copy of it, you actually can't scan it no more. So, you know, if you go, hey, I need a photocopy of your ID, you actually need a specific copier that you have to get a permit for to copy these. So the government is trying to combat it some way. So we can make copies, but they're not, it's not, if I have a 3-year-old ID, like my ID has the Ohio Star and everything on it for traveling, but you can still copy mine. The newest of the new stuff, you cannot copy. There's some kind of film on it that stops when the light hits it, it bounces it back. So The government is aware, but not everyone's there yet. So still no Chick-fil-A. You guys remember my Chick-fil-A story last time? Yep, still no free Chick-fil-A. With the state of Ohio has recently purchased TechGuard for the entire state. So everyone should have a mechanism, hopefully you're in that process or not have rolled it out, of getting phishing for your school. So House Bill 96 came out. House Bill 96 has some requirements in there, like you have to have a cybersecurity framework, you have to do this, that, and the other. And part of that is awareness and training. And so you'll all hopefully at some point be getting your own free Chick-fil-A emails over the next school year, I would think, at some point, right? So look out for that. And just remember when this happens, because I still get flack for this. My staff at the county and at Spark and the school district who work, they're pretty good now. Your tech director's job is not to fool you because you're fooling yourself, right? It's just to create awareness. So when you get mad at them for failing one, and you will fail one, because I have even failed one, because they are getting really good, don't be mad at them, okay? It's just part of their job. But I'm still a Nigerian prince, and I want to give you lots of money, $2.4 million. I just want the bank account details, social security number, photocopy your passport and birth certificate, and your firstborn child. I'm going to put this up every time you see me because I love it. I think it's hilarious. And some of us are still like, I'll still give you my firstborn child, especially me right now with my teenage daughter. But nonetheless, this is still how it started. We're way past this point now because of AI. AI is making great images. You know what AI is really good at too? Typing up fake emails to get your information. And I have one on here I'll show you an example of. So I used to say, and actually last time we talked, I probably said to you, watch for grammar mistakes, watch for foreign accents, watch for anything that's out of the norm. Well, guess what? Forget all that, because I'm probably using AI if I'm a scammer. And it's all going to look and sound really good, and it's probably going to have better grammar than you, because AI is really good. So once again, phishing attacks, it's important to understand the differences, because a phishing attack is like telemarketing. I want to get as many people as possible, hit as many people, and get as much influence and contact back as I possibly can. Spear phishing is when it's an insider job, meaning, you know, him and I work together. I'm trying to get his information. Men, we're still not, I guess just us three, right? So we're still not to the point where we have to worry about this as much. So still out there. But women, if you know someone in your personal life and you get an email from, say, I'm not this creepy, but I'm using me as an example, Tyler with an I or a 3 instead of an E, an L and capital I, so it looks like Tyler.Smith, but it's not. That's targeted. That usually warrants something with law enforcement, right? Especially if it's somebody you know, like Bob with an O instead of a 0. We see that a lot with women. If you have like a stalker, they use a fake email address. That's a targeted attack, right? That's spear phishing. Inside it would be employee to employee. That happens, unfortunately, but that anytime it's spear phishing, usually law enforcement, okay? Because there's more behind that. Well phishing is your treasurers, your superintendents, your CEOs, CFOs, somebody with a public profile where it's easy to go online and get their information and get and target them to try and do stuff. The CEO and CFO going for 25 million. Well phishing. All right, let's see if we remembered emails from last time. What's wrong with this email? They can't read it. Half the people in the room are like, oh no. I'll try and help out. So one, it's a Google email. The Google email, which should be internal, has this wonderful orange flag on it that shows that it's external. It says employee payroll updates, but you can't see the subject, and that doesn't match. Also, I show this to teachers a lot. And I always tell the teachers, like, if you're getting employee payroll updates and you're clicking on it, you should feel bad because it's not your job. So that should be a real huge identifier right there. The from field, drive shares, no reply at shareclouds.org. Get in the habit, and we're seeing it more and more and more, of clicking the little arrow next to the from field and verifying who it's actually coming from, right? It can say Tyler Smith, but it can come from abcdefg@gmail.com, right? Right now I can make an email address in about 2 seconds that's not me, looks like me, and send it out. It's not a hard thing to do, right? Anybody can do it. So that is easy. That doesn't even require me to be any kind of skill set. It's just me lying when I register for Gmail. Okay. Next one, same thing, Chick-fil-A. External flag, get in the habit of checking for that. It would be external flag though, right? If I got an email from the bank or Scholastic or something like that, they're not inside my organization. That external flag is just saying, hey, be careful of this. If it's a Google email or a staff email to you and it has the external flag, that orange flag at the top, that's bad. That means it did come outside. Gmail is different than, say, IndianValleySchools.com, right? The reason being is IndianValleySchools.com is going to be internal, whereas Gmail will be external. Or even if I emailed you from OME-RESA to Indian Valley, I'm just putting there so I see it, is because they're external to your internal Google domain. So if I have a staff emailing me for a deposit change and I have that flag, that's your first identifier. And then you should look at the from field, which is uiinfo.co at this point. Chick-fil-A has lots of money. They can definitely afford chickfil-a.com. Once again, when you pull an email, one thing I get questions on quite a bit is when I get an email, what do I do? Can I click it? If the subject looks funny? Well, yeah. If you don't click the subject and look at the email, you really don't know what's in the email. Opening an email does not condemn you to badness. Doing stuff in the email does, right? You can hover over a link and at the bottom of your browser, if you're on Outlook, it'll show you where that link wants to take you. And what you're seeing here is this little black strip that's showing you, hey, I'm going to go to uiinfo.co. I haven't clicked anything. I'm just hovering over it, right? So that's important. Attachments that you're not expecting, spreadsheets, PDFs, don't just willy-nilly open them. And I know we get in a hurry, and if it looks legit, but if you're not expecting it, and you're not sure exactly what they're asking for, let it sit, okay? This one, who remembers this one? Still one of my best phishing emails to date. What's wrong? You don't even need to zoom in on this one. I'll tell you the from field's wrong. Obviously, we have the external flag. This is the easiest one. And as soon as I say it, everyone will be like, yeah. The from field is incorrect. So if you were to look at the from field, you'd be good. The biggest thing with this one, it's a Google Meet invite, and it doesn't say yes, no, maybe. And so the reason this is so successful is because you get this. Imagine being a teacher and getting an email from your superintendent saying, I need to have a meeting with you, and you not being able to say yes, no meeting and accept that meeting invite. What are you going to do? You're either going to reply back to it, or you're going to start emailing and calling people. And that's why this one's so popular. Because even though I'm not asking for anything, I put you in a sense of urgency that you're going to miss an important meeting from somebody you should probably meet with, and you're going to start making mistakes. So that's why this one still works really well. So what can you do? Still, to this date, this is very important. So this is second on my list today of stuff we'll talk about of changing your email password. The 3 dots in the top right of Gmail, if you're using Gmail, you can do 2 things. You can report spam. Spam is, hey, I get Cabela's emails and I don't want this crap. I report it as spam, it goes in my spam box. Gone. Phishing does 2 things. Phishing at your school will put an alert to your tech team and it'll put all those emails from that sender on hold for 15 to 20 minutes. Fun fact, if you do this to your superintendent, he can't email for 15, 20 minutes. Do with that information as you will. But if you do this, they will get an alert. Your tech team can go into the security alert center in Gmail. They can then escalate it to Google. Google will review it very quickly. They're usually like 3 to 5 minutes. They will then globally dump it from everywhere. Globally, not just your organization, globally. So you can see how that's impactful. Same thing is true in your personal life. So if you get like, who's got like a fake invoice from PayPal or a Best Buy slip or something in your email, and you're like, what is this junk? If you report that as phishing, Google will then delete it down the road for everybody for you. Which then if you have elderly that are real susceptible to this right now because they're just not aware, you're probably helping them out. So take the time instead of just deleting it and just report it as phishing, just because you are helping someone out down the road. I promise, even though you're not going to see it, it takes you 3 seconds to click that button. It is truly helping somebody down the road, right? Elderly right now are 70% more likely to get hit with phishing and lose funds than anybody else, right? Because thankfully, a lot of us in here are still pretty tech savvy. If you're 70, you have no clue other than you owe someone $200 and you're probably going to pay it. So report phishing. Okay. So what you're seeing here, this is an AI email. So we had our team out there come in and type in, hey, I just need an email that looks legit for the Stark County ESC for a notification system. And if you look at this, it was able to spoof our from field. It was able to take and add that to the bottom, which doesn't go to us. And if you read through it, it's important. If you did not receive this notification, please click here to add your SMS and voice. That, if you're a staff member and everything looks good and you're not like queued up to look at the from field, and in this case, the from field's good, you're going to do this. It's going to happen. The other thing that we see a lot now is, say I get compromised at Spark, my account gets compromised and I start emailing all of you. Well, of course it's going to look legit. It's coming from my email address. The contents are going to be fake. Other than being aware and like looking at those links and looking at the from field and going, should I be getting this? A lot of people go for it. So I want to show you how easy this was. We opened up ChatGPT and I said, hey, create a professional email asking someone to verify account information. ChatGPT was like, here you go, man. We love you. It puts it out. There's the information. There's the email. I fill it in with the blanks that I want and I'm done. And I go, hey, you know what? Take out the part about verifying credentials, make them click a link. Okay, here you go. Here's the new one. Click your link. So that took me all of 20 seconds. Not a big deal. This is why it's important to realize that this is no longer just hackers and educated people like talked about earlier. This is anybody. Anybody that can get on ChatGPT, anybody that can get on Gemini, right? This doesn't require a special skill set anymore. It just requires someone to do harm. So I want to talk to you about your car's extended warranty now. So social engineering. As we get through this, the next couple parts here of social engineering, this is kind of what I specialize in the hacking field. So I'm happy to spend some more time on this one. This is also what is really impacting everyone the most right now. So the next video you see is of a gentleman that owns a very successful company up north that he has set himself, he got in some trouble in the early 2000s and he ended up, instead of going to jail, he works for the government. Now he's got a really good cybersecurity company. But I want you to really pay attention on this video, who he's talking to, how he escalates it, and where he's able to get to with just a phone. He's not doing anything overly technical, and I'll talk about some of the technical stuff he does, but it's not hard, right?
What do you think of when I say the word hacker? Some creepy dude in a basement? Well, that's a misconception. What if I told you there's a class of hackers who don't just have social skills? They have more social intelligence than anyone you'll ever meet. David Kennedy is one of them. He's what's known as a social engineer or a people hacker. His craft is to dupe you into doing things and sharing information you probably shouldn't.
I just get your credit card number?
Some use it for illegal activity. In David's case, companies pay him to find out if employees are leaving the company vulnerable. He and his team show us how it's done. Step 1, spoof his number so it looks like he's calling from inside the company, and then call tech support.
Hello, you there? Hello?
Hi, yeah, can I help
I was wondering if you can take a look at a website I'm trying to get to. It's for a big customer thing I'm working on for Monday, and I can't seem to get to the website from my computer.
you? Sure, what's the website? I'll invite you through.
Thanks, man. I really appreciate the help. I mean, it could be a stupid thing. I'm really stuck with computers, but so it's www.survey. That's SURVEY -pro.com.
Yeah, I know that prompt to open. You put open and I'm at the site now.
Here's what the IT guy doesn't realize. By clicking that link, he's just given David full access to his computer.
Whoa, okay, that's weird. I just hit it and it works. It seems like it's working fine now. Awesome. Well, I don't know what you did, man, but I really appreciate the help.
Hey, no problem. That's easy.
That we did.
We're on the computer right now.
You were able to take over this guy's computer within, I would say, like under 2 minutes.
Under 2 minutes, yeah. Under 2 minutes, took over his entire computer, and think of it as not just his computer, but it's pretty much a downfall of the entire company.
All right. So what did you notice there? What are some like key points that you notice when they're going through that? Tech guy did not verify. That's right. And in his defense, he spoofed the number to make it look like he was calling from within. So that would put you at ease. But it is a felony unless you have what's called an ROE, or rules of engagement. So I could right now take my laptop and call you from the White House, right? I would be committing a felony as doing such, but I could call you from the White House right now in about 3 minutes. It's not, it seems technical. It's not this big spooky thing to do. And actually there are services online where you can pay and they'll do it for you for like 15, 20 bucks. Okay. He didn't verify. He didn't have any kind of split process to what link he's going to. If someone calls me and goes, hey, can you go to this link? I'll be like, what are you trying to do? I'll question it, right? Not, oh, yeah, I just willy-nilly can't get to it. Like, okay, yeah, sure, whatever. Why are you trying to get to this? What does it do? He didn't question and validate at all. He instantly had an account on their tech team that obviously would have escalated permissions. Most of your tech people would. So one thing that we've really tried to push to everyone is if you're in the tech department or if you're in the treasury department or if you're in anywhere, have a different account that does different stuff. So for instance, my day-to-day account that I check email on can't do anything escalated on my network, right? I have the ability, I have the knowledge to do it. I can work on this stuff, but I don't want my account, if it were to get compromised, to be able to do escalated stuff. Same is true. And here's a loaded question for redesign or e-finance. I don't know what everyone's on in here, but I assume those are the two key ones in the room, right? Does your redesigner e-finance account have the ability to do admin level stuff, not your daily job? So I guess I could elaborate. What's an admin function on redesigner e-finance? Admin. Yeah, right. Okay. Is there any treasurers that can do user access right now?
They can see it, but they.
Cannot create it. Okay. So some districts in our footprint and outside in the state, their treasurer has the ability to do this, right? So think about this. If I'm a hacker or if I get access to your account via credential stuffing because you didn't change your email password and it was the same as your work account, I can get in then and create a fake user and give that permission roles. And maybe throughout the year, I realize it's a fiscal system and I'm then issuing fake vendor POs to somebody and invoices and paying them. You could see how that could escalate quickly because I have an account that's outside of my daily duties. So it's really important, and we are very stickler about this at my ITC. You probably are too, knowing Adam, but making sure your roles fit what the job is, right? If my job is to run reports and get them out for a board meeting, I don't necessarily need to be able to look at budgets and funds, right? I just don't need it. And that's very important to keep your line of what you're looking at, what you're actually doing. Same with your tech department. Your techs should all have a different account that does escalated stuff. They check email on this one. Hey, server's broken. I get into this one. All right. If you have gradebook managers or EMIS people, well, I look at basic stuff on this one. I get into this account to do this stuff. It's a pain. I'm not saying this is a convenience thing, but it's a protection level. Whereas if this one gets compromised, this one's still safe. Right. So he lacked the verification. Right. This is stuff we're seeing in social engineering. Vendors, staff support, communities, boards, any of these people get out to you, verify. There are a lot of fake vendors out there. There's a lot of people out there that'll call in and ask for information, and it's hard to validate. So here's a good one. We've seen this in the state of Ohio to many, many districts. There's a good chance if I send you an invoice at some districts, you might pay it, especially if it's only a couple $100. You might go, man, I can't find that PO. And if I pressure you for it, like, hey, we need to get this working. And then I social engineer with somebody in the district that says, hey, I need Snagit. Anybody know what Snagit is in here? It's a screen scrape software, right? And we've seen this at a district where some of the people in the district are using Snagit to help with their lesson plans and they're taking pictures of stuff. Well, then I am Snagit LLC. I'm sending you invoices. I get on a teacher to do it. I call them and say, hey, this is such and such from Snagit. We didn't get your renewal. Well, that teacher now goes to the treasury department and go, hey, you never renewed Snagit. And you have an invoice sitting here. You're probably going to pay it because I social engineered the teacher to get you to pay it. Instead of calling Snagit directly off their website and having good contact information, right? Call the number you know. That's important. That's the other thing here that they have. That on that call, he could have been like, in this call is kind of an extreme case, but he could have been like, hey, can I give you a call back? And then, or what department do you work for that you're trying to access this, right? Who's your supervisor? Ask him for information that nobody should know unless they're here, right? Who do you report to? That's not a hard one. Add that into your workflow on some stuff. So if you get a vendor invoice, don't look at the invoice and go, I'm going to call this number, right? Find their website, call that number. Same with like your personal life, your doctor's offices, your whatever, your financial advisors, your whatever. Have good contact information that you trust, not what is showing up on your phone or what is in an email, especially if it's suspicious. Keep that good information, that Rolodex, those business cards of your bank, right? I could call you from Huntington Bank and make it look like Huntington Bank. To verify that, you should go use your known contact and go, is this person work at Huntington Bank? Right? Same thing with your vendors. You get something from a vendor and you're not sure who this vendor is, or if they're saying a staff member did this, reach out to the staff member before you do anything with that vendor, right? Verify that. Add a channel, get a second request, escalate it if you need to. They'll wait. If they want their money, they'll wait. They're never going to tell you no, especially if it's a legit vendor. They're not going to risk the business for an extra couple of days, especially if you're doing verifications. Lack of awareness. Always, always, always be skeptical of your caller ID. I think I've hit that point pretty clear. And display names, it's easy to lie. So here's a fun one. I actually took OME-RESA. Which of those URLs down there, OME-RESA, don't chime in, I hope you know, is OME-RESA's email address or website address? I'm sorry. Only one of them works, by the way. Anybody? Which one is it? I got several people. I can see some people. It's .net. So it's something as simple as that. I could spoof OME-RESA's website. I could go by OME-RESA.org right now. I should have done this and put Adam's face on it. I missed such a good opportunity here. I could go get OME-RESA.org, put in an email, OME-RESA.org, and if you're going through it in a click in a hurry, you're probably going to click it. And if I have a login portal, you're probably going to log in because it's going to look the same, and I just took your credentials. Just by not having .net versus .org. This is a good opportunity to tell Adam to go buy all those. Okay? Oh, of course he is. Same thing with your school district. So here's the thing. All school districts right now, the process takes about a month of your tech director's time. You can get an Ohio K12.gov email address. You can also get an OH.gov email address. Those are specifically issued from the federal government. You can't get them any other way. I can't go buy them. Why that matters is because if you see .gov, nobody else can get it, right? So if your district is used to seeing OH.gov, so spark.oh.gov, and it comes at spark.com, that is a big red flag. Something is different, right? You know it's different. And you also know, guess what? It's not a government organization, which a school is. So it doesn't cost anything either. It's just time, and you have to submit a bunch of documents, but it's not that bad of a process to do. OME-RESA can do it too if they wanted to. The only problem with the .gov that we've seen is it identifies you as a government organization, which bad actors like to attack. So it does kind of give you a flag, but it also gives you a sense of legitimacy too. So there is a downside to that, just on how far they want to go. So also slow down, right? The biggest thing of any social engineering is to make you make mistakes. Go on that human nature that you want to help me and try and make you make mistakes. If I pressure you for urgency, you're more likely to do it. If I go, hey, you know, I'm really trying to get this done right now. I have to have this happen by the end of the day or I'm gonna be in trouble. You're gonna want to help me. That's just nature, right? And it's very easy on the social engineering aspect for me to call in and go, hey, I'm looking for Missy. Is she there today? Or hey, I'm looking for Adam. Hey, Adam's in Florida. Okay. I wait a couple hours. I call back. Hopefully I get somebody else. And I go, hey, this is Tyler. I know Adam's in Florida. I'm really trying to get this done right now. I just created trust with you because I knew something I shouldn't, although you told me several hours earlier, and you're going to escalate to help me out. Right? Always verify who you're talking with. Super important. There's not a great way to do it other than what do you want? Or my go-to when I get those calls, because I get tons of calls, is yeah, I'm busy right now. Are you going to call back and go, hey, I know you're busy right now, or hey, I know you just stepped away. Yeah, all right. If you don't know who it is for sure, just tell them, hey, they stepped away or they're unavailable. Okay, don't tell them they're at Capitol Conference. Don't say, hey, they're at OSBA right now. Because if they get somebody else in the office and they go, I know they're at OSBA, the secretary might go, wow, well, he must know him because he knew he was at OSBA, right? Okay. So the other one, we've kind of hit on some of those points there. I've talked to you about the deepfake audio and video. We understand now that it's very easy to be someone we're not. That's why you should have that second channel of verification. The other one that we see a lot of is never let someone fall into a restricted area. So I see this one pretty frequently. I don't do a lot of pen testing anymore, but my favorite thing is if I put a suit on, you're going to let me in your building, right? I'm going to walk in behind you and you're going to hold the door open for me. You're going to welcome me in because I have a suit on. You're not probably going to check my badge because I look like I belong. I've done this at schools where I walk in just well-dressed, or I'll put an ESC shirt on, and sometimes they know me, and that's okay. Sometimes they don't, and they'll just let me right in the building. Just, if you don't know, and you might know all your staff, and that's fine. But remember this, I talk to this to many different people. If you're a teacher, if you're just not staff, you go, hey, can I see your badge? If they go, I don't have a badge, you go to the front door. Got to check you in. Sorry, don't mean to be a pain in the butt, but you know, the way the world is today, security, you got to go to the front door. Sorry, can't sneak in through the side. If they get mad about it, they weren't supposed to be there. It's plain and simple. We see this all the time. And from a cybersecurity standpoint, not even just bad actor, I'm not going to the extreme here. If I get in, I can start stealing stuff. I can get student information. I can plug into your network. There's tons of stuff I can do with you just opening the door for me. I've even gone to the point where we had a school that had just gotten built, and superintendent goes, hey, can you do some pen testing? And we told him, I said, some of the pen testing is on site. So what we did is the school is about to open. They're a couple weeks out. We went and got some orange, like the high vis things, and we just walked around the school all day. They let us right in the side building. We were like, hey, we need to get in the data center to look at something. They opened the data center for me. I'm like, this is awesome. I showed no credentials. I just walked around the building. I just, wherever I wanted. I could have took equipment off the racks and been like, yeah, we're replacing this one, and walked out the front door. Nobody would have ever asked me. So it's important to verify even the people coming in, because that can escalate really quickly. And that with today's society could be a real big issue real quick, right? So send them to the front door. Keep an eye out for the cold calls still coming that are health insurance, car warranty, Microsoft support, that kind of stuff. We are getting into Black Friday. Black Friday is one of the most successful times for social engineering because we all order so much crap. We don't know why Amazon doesn't live at our house. So yeah, someone are like, yeah, if you know your Amazon person by their front name, you probably order too much stuff. First name. So be cautious during this time coming up because this is going to start happening a lot. All right. Third-party exposure. These happened all in 2024. You can thank them. Anybody in here not use one of these? AT&T, Ticketmaster, or Dell? All right. Not at all, ever? You're good. How about Verizon? They got breached in January, so you're not safe anyways. So, good try. What you're seeing here is AT&T was so gracious to give 73 million social security numbers out. Ticketmaster gave all our payment information out, including your credit cards. Dell was nice to give you credential stuffing that probably linked to your email address with the new computer you bought and registered on, by the way. So thank you for that. All that to be said that there's not a whole lot you can do, but Dave Chappelle says modern solutions require modern problems require modern solutions. What's that mean? It means in this day and age, if you don't have some kind of credit monitoring for yourself, you should. It's so bad now that the big corporations just go, we'll pay you to create a free model because they're sick of issuing credit monitoring to everybody. So have one of these. I use the Experian model. I paid for it. You don't have to pay for it. The free one works great. If you have children, you should use something to monitor your children's credit because if a minor gets hit, their credit will be destroyed by the time they even turn 18. They'll just lie about their date of birth. So if they have a good social security number, they'll have accounts open like you've never seen before. So you can do credit monitoring for your children too. Take their social, register them up. You'll see new accounts. It happens. Somebody tried to register my daughter for a car like last year. We have credit monitoring, her credit's locked, so it didn't matter. But I had monitoring, so I was like, oh, you're trying to get a new BMW. That's crazy. In Florida, I was like, wow. It's that common right now. So have that monitoring for your children. Okay. Remember, you are the target, right? Hackers, scammers, anybody, everyone thinks like, well, it's only $5. It's only $5, only $10, right? Well, $10 here is a lot different than what it is in Europe in some places or other places of the world. South America, you're right? Africa, Russia, Asia, doesn't matter. Pick a place. Our currency is always worth usually more than other countries at some point, okay? Hackers also equate to bad attention is still attention. So if you get those text message threads and you're like, stop it, right? Leave me alone. You just told me that's a real phone number. I'm going to continue to share with my friends and we're going to pester you until you give it. So bad attention is still attention. It's like a child. They just want to know that you're real. Use multi-factor authentication. We're getting to the point where we're all using passkeys. You've probably seen it now. Type your username in, your phone pops up a prompt. You hit your prompt button on your phone, you go in. I would say within the next 3 years, we're not going to have passwords anymore. We're going to be all set to, you're just willy-nilly, everyone's getting a passkey and your phone is your password. That's what they're trying to do. Why? Because then when AT&T gets breached, they don't have passwords to give out. Doesn't matter, right? So we're going to start seeing this more and more. Google's doing it. I don't know if Google, I don't think works. I'm trying to think if that works through the redesign module yet. I don't think it does. I think you can do SSO with multi-factor, but you can't do the passkey yet. So that's coming. This creates the passkey thing from your standpoint, creates a whole different conversation with teachers unions. And I've seen those, I've been part of those. Because are you expecting teachers to use their personal device? But what you can do, and you might hear this from your tech directors, is they might get with you and say, hey, we want to buy FIDO keys. There are these little keys you plug in the computer. You have one there? That little key right there, it's got a little button on it. You plug it in the side, you tap the button. We see a lot of schools doing this. That way there's no union issue. You plug it in. If you have your key, you get in. If you don't have your key, the tech directors will hilariously give you this really long pin that you have to type in to get in your computer. And you won't forget it again because you're sitting there typing this thing and looking at it back and forth. That's coming, right? We want to get rid of passwords. Keep your software up to date. That is super important. I know pushing off that update when you come in the morning, you're ready to get working, seems like such a burden. Make sure your tech team is keeping everything up to date. The servers, that's super. If there's a vulnerability sitting out there and I can use it, I'm going to use it, all right? That's what hackers do, like good hackers. They're hitting vulnerabilities. They're not social engineering. Keep the stuff up to date. think before you click, strong passwords and what password should be different. Email, thank you. Someone's like, I don't know. Okay, look at all that stuff, but we're not done yet. Add a couple on here at the end. So we talked about the USB drop attack last time. We talked, you guys remember this at all? Everyone's like, nope, I don't remember. So who remembers the mixtapes from the 90s? We'll go back. Get your mixtapes in the 90s. You go home and you load them on Napster. Anybody in here not know what Napster is so we can all point at you and laugh? Right now, there's somebody in here that's I ain't doing it. For those that don't know, Napster is what we downloaded music on illegally in the 90s. I don't know anybody that didn't. So in the 90s, hackers at that time in its infancy would get with content creators, put malicious code on a content creator's disk. You would willingly take the music home, put it on your computer and listen to it, and they would hack your computer, right? What we've seen at schools, and we're still seeing this because kids just think it's hilarious, is they'll leave a thumb drive in a hallway, a thumb drive in a classroom, a thumb drive in an office. Teacher will pick it up, plug it in, and either one, it has malicious code, or a lot of them use the software, the eraser. Doesn't really need to explain what the eraser does. It's not the crayon, and it erases stuff, right? So if you find a thumb drive, if you get a thumb drive at a conference, and I'll tell a story about a conference one here in a second, give it your tech team. They should have a computer off network where they can test these things and figure out who they go to, or just toss them. It's not, if they were silly enough to lose them, they're $3, right? $7 for a nice one. Just don't plug them in, especially if you didn't buy it. So here's a fun fact. In 2013 or so, I went to a conference called DEF CON. And what you do at DEF CON is you hack each other. This is very nerdy, and you can laugh at me real quick if you want. And you play capture the flag while hacking code on the other person's infrastructure, right? This is a tournament for cash prize. There was somebody there that had these thumb drives. They looked really cool. They're about yay big. They had like the Punisher skull thing on it. He was promoting his new business. So he gets these, he puts them out. Everyone's plugging them in. They're looking at it. He's got the full display of what he's doing with his company coming up. They're checking it out. Goes on, right? That's day one. Day two, they get to the top tournaments, and it's him and another team. As soon as they start the tournament for them to go for this $25,000 cash prize, he turns all their computers off. Hackers don't have ethics, and guess what? He won 25 grand. There's nothing they can do about it. So I tell you that because we go to a lot of conferences, and there's always thumb drives sitting out. Everyone, I tell every vendor, don't bring your freaking thumb drives to any conference that Spark has. I will throw them in the trash. Don't pick them up. Like, just go to Best Buy and spend the $4 and get your own that you know that trust, because I can pick one up at a conference, plug it in my computer, and in about 3 seconds, put code on it, put it right back on the table. You would never know. You would have no idea. I could use my phone and do it. I could do it with my phone. I could just be fiddling with my phone with the thumb drive, sit it back on the table. No big deal. Just leave them. Not worth it. The other one that we see a lot, and I made a slide for this, is direct deposit fraud. This is huge, huge right now. If you haven't seen this yet, you will. Everyone's different on this, and I don't want to tell you how to run your organization. I'll just tell you the best practices that I've seen on this. So anytime someone wants to make a direct deposit change, you should have a multi-channel verification system. Whether that's, hey, your next direct deposit update is a paper check and a form, right? So I go into SCView. I don't know what everyone uses. I'm just familiar. So if you use SCView, cool. If you don't, just picture your system, implement with SCView. So I go into SCView, update my direct deposit form. I get all my information in there. It goes to whoever handles it, your payroll clerk. They set the next pay to be a paper check, right? I go down and get my paper check. You have me sign a form realizing, hey, I got this paper check and I signed a form. Okay, I did this. Versus, yeah, I did this, and my next paycheck goes to somebody that's not me. And I come down and I go, where the heck's my paycheck? And you go, you asked to change it. And I go, no, I didn't. Even if it comes from an internal email address, and I've seen this at schools. Say my work email gets compromised. I figure out who's Fiscal. You're like, well, you sent me an email. What I'm going to do as a hacker is I'm going to make it so any email communication between me and you goes to a different label. So it never pops up in the inbox. So I'll let you keep working as normal. You have no clue I'm in there changing direct deposit. I'll just put a label on it, hide it under something else. Make it red as soon as it comes in. That's what you got to look out for. So even if it's an email, I would say, no, you got to come do this paper form. You got to do this process to do this, right? That's such a pain. I know it's not convenient. I know we're trying to get away from paper forms. I know. And here's the funny thing about the paper form. It matters if you want to keep it, but all you're really doing is making sure that person is reading something that says, I'm changing my freaking direct deposit form, right? You're just adding an extra layer so they know, hey. And here's the beauty. If they get the paper check, You now know if it was an email, their email is compromised. And if they get the paper check, hopefully they go, why am I getting a paper check? Why have you done this to me? Right? So you want to have that multiple verification. You can call, you can do any of that kind of stuff as well, as long as you can verify that they're actually doing it. Absolutely. My recommendation right now, and this is obviously up to your district, is do not do any direct deposit changes via email. There's too much greater risk. There's too many credentials being hacked right now. I would say no. As a district standpoint as a whole, we just don't do direct deposit changes, because then you're on the hook for whatever that payroll cycle is for that employee, and who knows where it went from there. The other thing that we've seen is a secure portal with the ability to do a signed form. So maybe I'm not using SCView. Maybe I have something else that connects. I go in and I fill out the form, and then I give you the submitted form with my digital signature on it. Well, guess what? If my email is compromised, I'll do all that for you. It doesn't matter. You have to have some kind of personal interaction when it comes to direct deposit. Fun fact, we ran into this year, and I seen it firsthand. We got to go through it. And I remember sitting with the treasurer and going, how often could you possibly be changing direct deposit forms? And they're like, all the time. We do like 15 a month. And I'm like, no, we've got quite a bit of staff that we deal with subs and everything else. I'm like, 15 a month. I haven't changed my direct deposit since I was like 18 years old. How do you do 15 a month? And apparently, some of you are like, yeah, we see this, is every time a bank has an offer for $200, everyone's jumping around, switching direct deposits. I'm like, it ain't worth the headache for me to switch my direct deposit for $200, but whatever. So apparently it happens a lot more. The other things that you should look for is if there is an email or a voicemail, if it says, please do this before next payroll, that's a huge red flag. Why is it a big deal? And most of the time, you're probably at a point where you're not going to get it done before next payroll anyways. So just be like, too bad. Even if it is legit, too bad. You got to wait, or come get the paper check. Watch for the external email address and the time the request was sent. So here's one that nobody ever pays attention to. We are in a much different time zone than the rest of the world usually. We're either 12 forward or 12 back, 6 forward, whatever. Once you jump the river, all the time changes. A lot of these requests come from foreign companies or foreign bad actors, not companies. And the time is goofy. So if I get a direct deposit change request at like 2 a.m., especially during a work week, I might be like, go to bed, right? Why are you asking for this and bugging me at 2 a.m.? So be like, look at the email and be like, it's not right that you sent me an email at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning to change it. It could happen. I'm not saying that, but it should be like, it's a really weird time to be like, you know what? I'm changing direct deposit right now. Strange. Okay. And always independently verify. That's important. So any questions on that? We're seeing this a lot across the state. We're seeing this a lot. This is almost catching up to, I think, the unemployment fraud that we were seeing. I think we see direct deposit more just because there's so much credential stuffing going on from these leaks where they're getting into work accounts. So we're seeing this quite a bit. Yep. 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 We see that one. And once again, call the employee and go, hey, and some people get really upset about that if they're buying it. And I've seen it with cars too, not as often, but you definitely see it with mortgage. You got a bank verifying income and they're calling in on this big purchase, and employees get weird. Like, well, what do you know about that? Well, good thing I did call you about this, because I was about to be like, yeah, you got some income and you're buying a house in Miami. It's crazy. So just call them and be like, are you doing this? And add that extra channel when it comes to it. Now, that one doesn't directly affect you, but you really don't want to put that person in that spot either, especially when they're only a phone call away. And that's,
We don't do they have email us the form. Yeah. And then we tell our staff, if you're purchasing something and you're gonna do a verification, please let us know. We're not filling it out until we have confirmation from you. Not really seeing it. Yeah. I usually mail employees call and say, hey,
yeah. And the problem is, and why it's nice to try and meet and get on this every year, this stuff changes every year. Last time I was here talking to you, we're talking about accents and grammar and all this other stuff. And this year I'm like, just throw it all out the window, because it's gotten more sophisticated. And with AI, and what we'll do here in a second is I'll bring up Sora and we'll do some fun stuff in Sora for a couple minutes. It's so easy to do this stuff now. It's hilarious. So Frank Abnegel, who knows who that is? Talked about him last time. He's the pioneer of social engineering. Catch me if you can. Okay. He said, and this is a true quote, the only secure computer is one that's unplugged, locked in a safe, and buried 20 feet under the ground. That still holds true today, right? There's just with any good comes the bad. It's just like automobiles. You could use anything for bad, even when it's doing so much good, especially where we're at in our current standpoint. So it's important to realize that when you do use these devices that were completely bound to us now, there's a lot of bad that comes with them, and you should always be kind of skeptical of them. So there is a survey there, and I'll leave it up for a second. We'll have some discussion before we bring up some Sora stuff. This time I've added a picture of my survey. So when you go there, you know it's my survey, because a lot of people are like, I ain't clicking anything you put up for me. So that does help me kind of massage and figure out points I need to work on for future presentations. So if you want to do that, I appreciate it. We'll take a couple minutes and we'll go through any questions, and then we'll show you some stuff on Sora. We're going to be way ahead of time here a little bit today. You got me for 2 hours, but I don't think we're going to use anywhere close to that. Surveys, I like it. Thank you. What questions or what are you seeing that you want? And if you have private questions, I always stay after for a little bit, so you don't have to ask in front of the room. Well, what are some things that you're seeing or questions that you have about in cybersecurity, or it could be even general computer? Believe it or not, I actually know computers really well. I was an engineer for a long time. Yep.
My son the other day, he was wanting to open a SoFi account, and because of the online bank,
Sure.
they wanted him to use like another app to link his bank account so he could make the transactions back and forth. So it was Plaid. I don't know if you're familiar with them. But they wanted him to give our user ID and password for our banking account to create that. I think that's weird.
So who has used, I don't know if it's an Intuit product. There's a product out there, and there's several now that shows you what you're doing with your spending habits. You used to link to it through your bank, and it would read like your credit cards, or maybe it reads your Franklin Templeton accounts, and it shows you your assets, your liabilities, your transaction history. And when those first came out, so it was kind of cool though. That now a lot of, like, Chase does this on its own app now, but it was kind of cool when they came out. You could see, like, I'm spending this much in food, I'm spending this much in gas, I'm spending this much in entertainment, and it would show all your transactions. Well, they did exactly that, where they're asking for your credentials for this bank account, and it's like a new app. You're like, sure, Rocket Money, I just met, but here's my bank account information. They're still doing that. I think it's terribly silly, but a lot of them are legit if it's a legit company. But there's a lot of banks now that have it built in, like Chase has it built in now. I'm sure the other ones do. I'm just familiar with Chase. I bank with CSE and Chase, and CSE is finally starting to get there. I don't know, who knows what CSE is up there in Canton, but it's Canton School Employees. It's a little credit union up there that we use, and they're like so far behind on times. I'm just terrified for them to take all my money and run. But a lot of the smaller banks aren't quite there, but some of the bigger ones are. And that verification process you're seeing there, you'll either see that, or my favorite one is, hey, you have to pay us 7 pennies, 9 pennies, and 3 pennies. We see that one a lot, and then you verify the amount between the two, and that's how they verify the account. So it's usually one or the other. That one seems to be easier, because if you send a ACH transaction, it might not hit for a couple of days, and you're like, by that time, you're like, all right, well, I really didn't need that app anyways. They like the instant gratification method. You'll see that for a lot of stuff. I think it's goofy, but it's probably legit, unfortunately. What else are we seeing? Questions that we have? Yeah.
On our website, they have a directory that has our picture, our title, our building we're in, our team. Is that something, how we watched that Morgan Freeman video? Is that something that a hacker could go in?
Sure. You've already done most of the work for me. My recommendation for that, and so this is a sticky situation. So I work with a lot of boards, so I understand what I'm about to say. Ultimately, if your board wants it out there to have a director, you're going to have a directory out there. My recommendation for every treasurer and superintendent, if that is the board's request, is to have the email that's publicly out there not go to them. So maybe that email goes to the attendant secretary, whoever, right? Maybe it's an admin, or it goes to a distribution group where it's the superintendent, assistant superintendent reaching out to these people and try and get rid of it. The best case scenario is you get rid of it, full bore, and you go, if you need this information, please contact us here. You have to have some, and a lot of it's community transparency, right? But from a social engineering aspect, if I know your name, title, and position, I can call in and go, hey, I know such and such and blah, blah, blah. And, or I could take your picture and make you sing Happy Days, right? I can do all that stuff with AI now, and you're just kind of along for the ride. We've had a lot of good school districts, and I've gone out and met with boards and explained why we do this and supplemented it with other stuff. It's not it's not that we don't want to be transparent at a school district, we absolutely do, but we also want to limit our risk. And if you have a mechanism in there, like a form that says, hey, we don't have our directory due to cybersecurity concerns. If you'd like to know more, please contact us here. Most of the time, the boards are like, that makes good sense. As long as you're being, you're not putting the request and letting it sit for a month, right? You're being kind of, the other thing that we have seen, anybody in here using Parent Square? No parents, one Parent Square user. Parent Square, we have like 22 school districts on Parent Square. They'll put the staff directory on Parent Square. And that way, if you log in, you're a parent if you're on Parent Square. So then if I log into Parent Square, I can see the staff directory, I can see all the teachers, everything on there. And so the website goes, if you'd like to see a staff directory, please go to Parent Security since it's more secure. And they'll do it that way. And they'll offset it somewhere else to go, it's not on our website because of cybersecurity. Please see a staff directory in Parent Square or contact us to do that. So yeah, that's one of those things that has gotten schools in trouble. Because guess what? I know who the treasurer is by going to your website. I know who the superintendent is. Facility manager, if I want to say I have a soap order or whatever, I'm gonna get their information just by going to your website. So I don't like the directories. I mean, but I understand that's a board thing too. So, but if you have another tool out there that you're communicating with parents on, I think just about every school does at this point. You might just leverage that to be the directory. Now you're still losing community visibility, but as long as you have another mechanism to share that with them and you're honoring that, I think you're okay. But just make sure you bring it up. But I think it's a terrible idea. So.
Then it goes somewhere else before you can, it's not really giving you their email address, it goes somewhere else to send the.
Yeah, you're doing it. It's a Cloudflare secure portal. And what they're doing is they're making sure you're not a bot. And that's fine because now you're stopping the ability to like screen scrape a website and make data repositories, but you're still not stopping a bad actor. Bad actor can still click through and get that information and you're still broadcasting that information. What you're really doing is just stopping bots from getting that information and making a repository of it. And that's so whenever you've been on a computer and you see that Cloudflare pop up that says, click this because I'm not a robot. That is to stop bots from doing repository screen scrapes and making these big bulk things that you find on the dark web of information. So that's what you're bypassing with that. Any more questions before we do some Sora stuff for a couple minutes? Anything you want to know? How was content today? Good. All right.
It's gonna be constant.
So last I looked in 2023 or 24, they made 10.5 trillion on cyber terrorism and crime. So I want to say last year, that wasn't billion, that was trillion. So several companies' GDPs, almost all of the United States debt, except a little bit shy. But so and my rationale for that is if you make 100 million or 1 million doing something, you're not going to stop. If you're making 10 trillion, yeah, they haven't released the numbers for last year, but I bet last year was probably $12 trillion. I'd round in there. So it's not like a little thing. And so the reason they are so sophisticated and pushing on it is because it makes a ton of money. And I always hear, well, why don't countries do something about it? We're super strict here. Sure. Well, if you're in some countries in Asia, as long as you don't operate in Asia and you get a little piece of the pie, they'll just put the blinders on. They might raid your building every once in a while with a heads up. You move to a different building, give the government the cut. The government can say, well, we're raiding them. And it just continues to happen. There are countries that have full call centers that are just there, and you can go watch videos. Full 500 employee call centers just meant to scam you. It just happens, right? And it's never going to quit. And we're talking, that 10.5 trillion is everything. That's your ransomware. That's your cryptocurrency. But a lot of that bulk is elderly savings accounts that are bailing you out of jail because now used to be. I remember. The big thing there for a while was calling grandma and grandpa and saying, hey, I'm in jail. Can you come give me bail money? Can you go to the bank right now and wire me some bail money? Right. And a lot of people are like, well, your accent, you don't sound like little Jimmy. Well, little Jimmy sounds great now because of AI. Sounds like little Jimmy because little Jimmy was streaming a video game online and his voice is all over everywhere and everyone's got his voice profile now. So guess what? Little Jimmy's voice is out there and so is his face. So I can make it look great. And that's really the tough thing. A lot of banks have implemented stuff for elderly as such as second controls where you can go in and go, hey, if my mom and dad comes in here, can you at least call me? Like you can't necessarily stop them unless you have power of attorney, but you can get a notice of it. And most banks are like, yeah, we get it. 'Cause they're seeing it a lot. And the problem is they'll go do this. They'll go to the bank and go, well, I want my money back. And they'll be like, you willingly sent a wire transfer for $10,000. What do you want me to do? You wanted to do this. And then they get mad at the bank, and I wish 10,000 was a small number, but that's like the nominal number right now. That's what we see a lot of. There's a lot that are 100,000. We've seen some that are $250,000 right out the bank account, full life savings. So, all right,
I got a question.
yeah.
How do we keep, a lot of this is comes down to like, career, keep our staff informed on this, like ever changing environment. We had a scenario this year. Someone hacked into our principal's account or email accounts and called it custodian. Basically, she went and bought $300 worth of gift cards, scanned the pictures into them. It never said a word to him in person.
Well, I mean, it was an emergency and you really needed them then.
And it was.
Yeah.
Until 8 months later, she's still asking for reimbursement. Finally asked him in person. He's like, I have no idea what you're talking about. Like, how do we, so now we make that a part of our opening day, we're doing public schoolwork stuff. Is there anything else we can do to keep it in front of them? Because those type of scenarios, you don't, a lot of times we find out after the fact and there's.
So the biggest thing that we do is we do Tech Tip Fridays. We send out an email from our ITC to everyone, and whether the district sent them out or not, that helps with some of the burden, but stuff is always changing. I think the biggest thing is the district communication, like a process. If I, the superintendent, email you and say that this is super secret, or like, such and such is getting married, please don't tell them. We see this all the time, right? And that might be true. Maybe someone's having a baby and you're trying to keep it on the wraps. All you do is go, if you're doing this, you can always contact this person. Always have a second contact. And that way, if it feels wrong, or if it is a surprise, they have someone else in that mechanism to, or just go flat out, like, we're never going to ask you for Apple gift cards. Believe it or not, we have a bank account at the school. Never go do this. That's really all you can do right now is just getting that awareness level up to try and get them to stop it. It's not always going to work. It really just comes down to the urgency and want to help people, and how do you deflect that? And there's just not a good mechanism for it right now. The biggest thing is awareness. And here's the thing with the weekly emails. We send these weekly emails out, they're automated, but then you get fatigued to them. Like, oh, it's just another Friday, send, delete, I don't care, whatever. In October, we do Cybersecurity Awareness Month, where like we had a food truck come out this month. We had all the staff and school districts, if they were there, we picked it on a superintendent meeting day. Then we sat out there with the tent. It was like just sitting there answering questions. Like, what do you want to know as you're getting your food? We were able to get a vendor to pay for all the food. So everyone was out there at the food truck because it was free lunch. And we're sitting there just hammering them with stuff. There's three of us that do cybersecurity. I mean, I do it as much as I can because I'm pretty busy, but we go to every convocation, even if it's just us to stand in the back and go, hey, we're here for when you're done to talk cybersecurity. We don't care what it is, just so you know. Just try and beat everything, get outside influences. And the other thing too, and I hate to say it, is a lot of your tech directors aren't kings of their own castle in this aspect. Nobody wants to listen to them. It's just something I see. I can go to a school district and say the same thing your tech director says, exactly as he said it, and you'll listen to me. I don't know why that is. But I see that a lot too, is just getting that outside influence and resource to just make it known. It does help a lot. I will say this, an email coming from the superintendent or treasurer or curriculum director speaks a lot more volume on cybersecurity than the tech director. It just does. You're more likely to read a notice from the superintendent than you are from the tech director. Because if you're having a busy day, tech director's telling you why your TV doesn't work, right? Or he's making your life miserable with a new password. Whereas the superintendent sends an email, you might be like, am I getting an extra bonus this year? Is the steps change? Whatever. So I would say those kind of communications where you send out, some schools do a monthly newsletter and they put it in there, like, here's what we're seeing. Some schools have superintendent, tech directors. If you're using like TechGuard or KnowBe4, you can leverage their systems to send them out because they have that awareness. Put it in your LMS. If you have like a public schoolworks or something like that, there's tons of them out there, but put a small module in there. Don't make it like a big test, just an awareness thing. Like 10 slides of this is what we're seeing this year. These are the things to keep an out for. Here's our district's best practices. Here's what we're seeing. Stuff like that. That's all you can really do right now. I mean, and there's always some vendor out there that wants to sell you something to make it better. And, that's a whole different discussion. But Yeah.
I don't know, I'll have to check our tech, but, they test us constantly. And it's OME-RESA, we have to do a video every year, that's on, then, they send out fake emails, see if you click on it, and it's a bad link, then you have to take another. But, so we are constantly being tested and know what to look for. Our tech department, and this might come to something for you. Andrew. Our tech department was at one time, and I'm not sure if you're still doing it, I can check for you if you're interested. Like with us, they send out the fake email, click on, to educate, this is what you should be looking for, and they'll bring it, send it. They can do it to try and help teach your staff, okay, you've got this email, click on it, should have clicked on it. Now let's take this little video, show you why you should click on this. So they, I'll check.
Campaigns.
Yeah, this
We
is.
did start doing those quarterly.
You did,
Yeah,
right, and it's not, seemed how,
I think it has.
it has a little bit,
Yeah, I think it has.
or you have all your staff do it. Cause I know it's hard, like for bus drivers and stuff, to get that access.
I'd have to check with our tech director. Does it quarter?
Uh-huh.
Just don't know how many of the staff are. I think everyone is.
Because that's how we can, so it's, they're constantly trying to trick us, I don't worry, you know what I mean? So, we're like, you get that? Nope, did you get that? Nope. Calling the security up. Is this real?
Yeah. That's good pick.
I'm sending some stuff to Zora real quick so we have some going. See what Zora pops up. So, any questions before we take a few minutes to look at Zora, and you guys will have some time. Hopefully the terror level is not as bad as it was last time. It's more about awareness, but and as always, I'm happy to come to your school at convocation. I have no problem. Biggest group I presented to right now is about 3,100 people. So I don't care what size your school is. Obviously I'm pretty comfortable standing up here. I'm happy to answer questions. And if you have someone that really makes you mad at your district, we can hack them before I start if you just want to see that, but they might be mad at you. Yep. Yep. Mine too. No, we're all on the dark web. I'd like to tell you we're not, but yeah. So here's the thing: the dark web the dark web's a real thing, but it's become a buzzword too. Like, oh, don't get on the dark web. Guess what? Every one of us on the dark web, myself included. What can you do to combat that? Absolutely nothing. Change your passwords when you get the notice for it. Use a password manager. Keep your stuff safe. We're all going to be in data breaches every time they happen because we're just in so much stuff. It's just going to be how it's going to be. And that's not going to change. I know some of them are like, we'll go delete your stuff from the dark web. Yeah, no, they won't. It sounds good in practice, but they're not coming off unless they're paying ransom, and they sure aren't doing that. So it's going to be there. We're in a repository, and most of us in this room are probably in 8 to 10 directories or repositories out there. And we're going to continue to be in those directories. There's just nothing really you can do about it. It's going to continue to happen. So it didn't make me a video. Let's do a different picture. Let's see. Can't see the screen. Who's gotten pretty good with AI? Who feels like they're pretty good with AI? Who's using AI? How about that? All right. What are you using AI for? Okay. So who's doing AI awareness right now for a program for your school or staff? Anybody? We gotten to that level yet? Yeah. I know we have the AI policy coming out from the state in December, I believe it is, that they're trying to have some AI guidelines for schools. AI is one of those things too that you should try and get your staff in front of so they know how to use it and embrace it. That doesn't mean take data and pump it up there, because unless you have a BAA agreement with them, you're literally providing breach data to AI. But Gemini, who's a Google school right now? Who uses Gmail and pays for Google Enterprise or whatever? Anybody? Okay, there's a couple. So if you're paying for a Google license or Google Enterprise, you have Gemini, which is Google's version of ChatGPT, and you have a BAA agreement with them. That's important to realize, because if you were to take, say, your 3-year forecast, it's no longer a 5-year, your 3-year forecast, and put it into Gemini, it's protected with your BAA agreement as long as you're doing it with your work account. That's important, right? So they can't share it out, and if they do share it out, you can sue them and they have to pay. It's very clear. So the other thing that we've kind of pressed on is, who has had Eric Kurtz or Matt Mays come out to your school district? They're everywhere, so I don't know if they have or not. They are both doing programs on AI and awareness and how to use these tools. John Pusateri, our fiscal, is coming up with a program right now, and he can share it with you guys so you can share it out, on tools that you can use as treasurer services or teacher services on the proper prompts with AI. So a lot of stuff that we get with AI right now in AI usage is people just don't know how to ask AI what they want. They think it's Google, where they're like, show me John Deere tractor. And they're like, here's John Deere tractor. And they go through that and they don't understand it's a conversation. So it should be like me talking to Missy, not me telling Missy what to serve up to me. It should be like, what do you think about a John Deere tractor with these color wheels? And Missy serves up, here, I think John Deere tractor with yellow wheels looks great, but have you considered this, this, and this? So I think that is the next step a lot of people should be looking at, along with cybersecurity, is also how to use AI. And what we're doing here, I can't see my screen, so the whole bottom of my screen is jacked up. We're just gonna wing it. I'm sure that's not right because I didn't type it right, but. So with Sora, what you can see at Sora is it's just going to generate these. Now, these ones look pretty hokey because I just told it the base level. I didn't say make it real. I didn't say do anything. So what it's doing is giving me draft images. So the next image that I told it to prompt up for me is I said, make it hyper realistic. Maybe now that I see that I typed it wrong, it should understand what I'm saying. So AI chat and anything that the scammers and hackers are doing right now, they take it to a different level. So I might make an email in ChatGPT and say, I want an email that is specifically targeted to treasurers and fiscal staff regarding Ohio Senate Bill 29. We'll go back a little bit in time, and it'll queue up Senate Bill 29. Now give me areas of concern that they should look for in an email for links they can click. And it would generate me a very good email citing stuff from the state of Ohio, giving me all the details that I want. Sora AI is the same thing, where you had phony email here. You look at that and you go, yeah, I know that's AI. To create me a hyper realistic image, to at a glance or on a tiny screen, that's probably going to look pretty good, right? That's just me typing something out. So let's do one real quick together. What does somebody want to see? Cat right at you. All this stuff we can do, we're making unicorn cats. We'll do that one now. As soon as this one's done. So here's the different levels of what we're showing. So I started with show me a school. That looks like a draft. Show me some kids in front of a school. Create me a realistic image. Now we're going with extreme realism. So whatever you feed it out, and mind you, I'm doing images because videos take like 10, 15 minutes. Audio is literally real time. It's hilarious how quick audio can work. Some of the audio tools out there that you can use, we could be having a conversation back and forth, you'd never know it. That's how quick the audio one is. As soon as it gets the audio profile, I could be doing text to speech with you and you'd have no clue. That's why that second level of verification is important. As soon as that one's done, we'll go to cat ready unicorn. Someone's back. Is someone back there soaring? Are you AI? Okay. I'm sort of laughing like you're AI and like cats riding unicorns back there. So while this generates, any other questions? Fill-ins? This is Sora AI. Sora is ChatGPT's visual module that is relatively new. And so ChatGPT, although they're kind of the pioneers, they're kind of behind on the imaging thing. They're really far ahead on the data model thing. And so what Sora is, you can come in here and actually what's funny about Sora, if you want to do something cool, if you want to use it in your personal life, go home, take a picture of your house and go landscape my house and put it into Sora. You can upload it into Sora and Sora will take your house just as it sits and landscape it and show here's ideas. So and go, well, I really want to do an addition to my house. Can you show me what my house would look like with an addition here? And Sora will do it for you. So alternatively, I could take a picture of you and go, give him a goatee, right? Put a pink hat on. And I could do it and it's going to look really good, right? There are a lot of stuff. Now, when you get into videos, you can go even further and I could take your picture, even though it's a static image and go, I don't know, make him sing Skies Are Blue. And you're going to sing Skies Are Blue and you're going to look great doing it, right? Your teeth will look great. Your voice will sound great, the whole 9 yards if I upload audio with it. And this is just a quick tool, but so there's a realistic basketball game at a glance. There are better tools that do this. Just Sora is the one that I have access to right now. But you can see just putting stuff in here. And if I were to take an image and put it in here, same thing. It's just going to populate, edit it. Say if you were to take a document at work, or maybe you're doing a blueprint, upload the blueprint into ChatGPT, not Sora, and go, can you analyze this blueprint to tell me what we're missing or what concerns you have, right? If you get an agreement, how many people have uploaded like a master agreement into ChatGPT and go, what is in their favor and what is in my favor? ChatGPT will analyze it from the legal sense and go, their terms and conditions are maybe just a little outside of standards. You should look at this, right? That's the kind of stuff that using AI properly that a lot of people aren't doing. Right now, it's like, hey, AI, I have a headache. What's that mean? They're like, you have cluster headache. Google could have told you that. But once you start escalating the stuff, or like we've seen with Gemini with 3-year forecasts when we're talking inside millage, because, who's not worried about that right now? What does that do to the budget? What offsets can we do to affect that? What is the Rover pipeline going to do for my current 3-year forecast based on these terms and buckets of when it's going to come? And then when it comes back, it'll say, do you want to see this? Do you want to see that? Can I look at it this for you? And that's all, proper AI usage, which will tie into like some of the cybersecurity stuff as well. So we're going to see cat with unicorn. I think we're going to wrap up after that. I wasn't going to leave you hanging. That's all right. No, we got to see cat with unicorn now. I'm curious myself. Yeah.
If I was a kid and I assigned a test, instead of having to type in all of the questions in Gemini, can I just upload an image of the test?
Sure could.
Fill out all the answers.
There's a cat riding a unicorn.
Teacher.
You don't. I'd like to tell you do. There are tools that will read if you're image. So if I go into ChatGPT, and what I'm putting into ChatGPT, let me stop sharing real quick. If I go into ChatGPT and give it some of that information, there's a good probability it's going to fill it out. And what a lot of people do is they'll put it into an AI checker to see if there are AI things going on with it. However, I would then just say, hey, why don't you make it so it doesn't sound like AI? And so then AI will add grammatical errors and mistakes into it, and it won't sound like AI. And it'll pass the AI checker. So, I don't know. Used to be AI was just a data model without the influx of the internet. And ChatGPT 5 now has the influx of the internet where it can go out and get this stuff for you. So yes, 5.5 is the enclosed one. And what I'm doing here is I asked it the first question, what do you think about the Ohio millage? It tells you everything about it, trade-offs, my overall take. What do you think about the impact on school districts will be? It's talking about House Bill 335, for example, carry over your reserve funds, your levy bans, your tax credits. Now, I gave it precursor information. And also on the cybersecurity side, imagine if I was the other way around doing this to attack you for something. You can see how efficient I'm getting this information right now. So I just told it there on the last one, now make me a pro school document I can give to my community. All right, so here's my pro school document, how schools are funded, classroom teacher support staff, transportation, civic, athletic arts, inside, eliminate or reduce inside restricted levies. It's talking about schools that have, you know, it's saying Hilliard City schools will lose an estimated $200 million because of what's going on, 260 jobs. Now we get down here. Do I want to adopt this for a specific district? We're not going to put anybody on blast, but let's go. Can I have a PDF page here to print? So now it'll take that information it kind of has together. It's going to get me a one-pager PDF that I can print out. If I had a forecast or something out that I wanted on here, I could upload it and put my district's information. It'll transpose it on there. And I just did what used to take us all 3 hours and less than a couple minutes here as we go through. So I would look to see the importance of why, back to your question, why cybersecurity is changing so quickly on this and how it's affecting. It's because I can do this. And now here's my whole school funding. Now this one might look hokey because it's the first attempt, but there it is. And then I could add some images to it. I could tell it to, if I had a school listed on there, I could say, well, put my school's logo on there, right? Add some tables and colors to it, make it look nice. And it would, just to get it out. Now, with that being said, on the cybersecurity side and AI side, it'll be confidently incorrect as well. So it is up to you to read it and make sure that it makes sense, but it will confidently tell you that something is incorrect. So, all right. So we had a little bit of Sora. We talked about a little bit of AI. I gave you some cybersecurity, and now I'm going to give you about 20 minutes of free time, I think. I'm going to leave that on there for just a couple more minutes. If you do want to do my survey, I appreciate it. I will hang out for a few. If you have any questions for me, I'm happy to answer them. I appreciate you guys having me out here again as well. Yep.
So show us like the PDF we can send out to the community, but also, you know, just think like the visual art, like myself.
Sure.
Like short videos, I think of YouTube. Like, is there AI tools out now that create?
Yeah. Sora will do it if you don't mind waiting for it.
Okay.
You can go in Sora and do it. And there's other ones that have like a nominal fee. It's a credit based. That'll do it just as well too. There's tons of them. And if you want to email me, I'll give you a list of them.
Like create a 2-minute video, animated, however.
Yeah.
Show how this school money works.
Yep, absolutely. So, and a good one to do would be, I'm trying to think somebody early on that would have done this. So remember like the cartoons and videos and stuff, Bill Nye. Remember Bill Nye when he would have something and he would have like an image that goes, this is how an atom grows. And it's the animated image of an atom and he's breaking it down. Well, you could say, do it in Bill Nye style, right? Break it down in animation style where it's Bill Nye, where, you know, here's a school building, but instead of it, the bar graph getting bigger with the school building gets smaller. And it'll do all that for you. And it'll output it and it'll give you a nice video. Now, it's up to you to verify that the information is correct. But you can make that 2-minute video in 15 minutes typing. And you might have to give it some changes going forward. You might have to reiterate it. I see some schools already doing that with their boards to show them stuff, or communities like this is how inside millage affects us. This is how, you know, this is how having a capital fund affects us and do this kind of stuff. So you can absolutely do that. And that helps a lot too. And you can do it with AI and let AI handle it for you. And if you're not paying the $20 a month for ChatGPT or a service like that, it's really the amount of stuff you can get done leveraging some of that is mass, right? I have a agent now, and a lot of them have, like Gemini has an agent, ChatGPT has an agent where it links to your email. You get an email and it just briefly summarizes the email for you, right? So here's the summary of the email. Here's the key points. Here's the key takeaways. Here's the suggested response. Who used to use Grammarly to like proof your emails before they went out, right? Grammarly's on steroids now with what it does with your email. It's like, hey, you sound dumb. Here's what you should put, right? So Grammarly's on a different level now that it has AI because it just knows that it's not doing what it's supposed to. So check chat real quick. All right. Yep. AI checkers. Most of them are junk. Mm-hmm. No AI checker. So I went and did an online college program last year and they used AI checker on there, right? Which is fine. Whatever. Once again, even if I did give it AI, if I made a document right now in AI and I said, make it non-AI checkable, and I gave it that prompt, no AI checker is going to check it. It'll add mistakes. It'll do funny stuff, that'll make it sound like me. The other thing you can do is, like, if I go on ChatGPT and I type in 3 paragraphs and I type in, I want to talk about how to spend time outdoors or whatever. And I type in 3 paragraphs. I'll go, this is my typing style. Whenever I ask a request, put it in this typing style. It will put it in that typing style, and it'll circumvent every AI that you've ever seen, because it'll be my typing style. If I put a comma where it's not supposed to, if I add a period where it's not going to be, but the in-content information will be accurate. It's just going to sound like me. So I think the AI checkers are not anywhere close to being what they need to be to stop what's going to happen. The best thing is more, instead of fighting it, embrace it, is my opinion, because it's not going anywhere. My daughter's currently taking tons of CCP classes, and she said she'll sit in study hall and just see kids rapping away on ChatGPT. Like, it is what it is. Now, whether you're digesting that information or how you're getting it back as a teacher is a whole different topic. I'm glad I'm not an educator right now, but the AI checkers are just laughable. And some of them, once again, the AI checkers are confidently wrong, because AI checker will bomb. Say I cite a source and say that source is 3 or 4 sentences long. Well, it's going to say I copy that verbatim. Well, yeah, it's a quote, but it might miss the quotations on it. I'm like, okay, yeah, you're right. It's a quotation. And it requires that teacher to go in and look. So the tool that the college I was working with had, you would submit your paper. The proctor would come in and read the paper. He'd go through and it would say AI detected on lines 14, 15, 16, right? They'd go look, and if there's quotes, he'd go, all right, well, this isn't AI. But if the teacher or proctor's being lazy, I hate to say, and they're just taking it and they're not looking at it, then everything's going to bomb an AI, right? There's not a lot of new literature that's been written that's not being used in some shape or fashion going forward. We're kind of at that point too. So a lot of those checkers bomb on that kind of stuff. So, all right. Hey, I appreciate your time. Now you have 15 minutes less. I'm sorry. Missy, happy to share my information out. Happy to share the slide out. There's a shareable version without my stuff on it. So if you want it, if you need me to come out and talk to your school at all, happy to do that as well. We don't charge, as long as you're not, don't make me drive to Cincinnati, please. I really don't like that. But as long as I have enough notice, we're happy to come out and talk and do PD days and stuff as well. So thanks, everybody. Thank you, everyone online as well.